Okay, good afternoon. I am sending this video out to parents of my science students to let them know what we're going to be doing for the exit project. Everybody is required to do an exit project this year, and typically the students have four types of projects to choose from: controlled experiment, design, um, secondary research, or or a field study. This year, I'm having everybody do a field study. It will improve their quality of observations, skill that they are desperately in need of and have to start fine tuning. Um, and it's an interesting way to gather data and to present it. So everybody must do the field study. Let's move ahead with this. Right now, students' observations, ability to make accurate and detailed observations is getting better as the year goes on. It's not great, but it's getting better. So everybody's improving. Things are looking up. And this is what they're going to be doing. They're going to be making observations every day, not necessarily using the binoculars, but just going to a location and making observations and recording data. So I've given them a variety of examples to use. The testable question that they're required to have has been, does some kind of an independent variable such as temperature, wind speed, relative humidity, UV index, cloud cover, does any of these affect number of pigeons, behavior of squirrels, number of fish? This is a perfect example of what they could do. They walk over on the way home. They go to a location where they know pigeons hang out. They check the temperature on their phone and they count the number of pigeons. It should take them no more than about a minute to collect this data every day. If they don't have a place where there's pigeons located and they have chosen pigeons, well, now that's a mistake and they should not have done that. They had about a week to choose a location, just to look around their house, look around where they live, their house, apartment, on their walk home. It has to be done the same time every day, this data collection. I'm going to go through some of the other points over this in a second. They can do number of squirrels in a park, or they could do squirrel behavior. So if they wanted to say, does wind speed affect squirrel behavior? Does relative humidity affect squirrel behavior? And so what they'll do is they'll go to the park and they will choose 5 behaviors. All of these projects are going to involve some type of research. So if they're doing squirrel behavior, they have to pick the 5 most popular squirrel behaviors. And I've gone through several of them. I've gone through all of them with them several times. So now if they're going to choose that, they have to do some research. If they're going to do wind speed and how many seagulls are over at Sheepshead Bay, then they need to do research on how does wind speed affect the presence of seagulls. Do more seagulls, are they in flight when it's windy, or do they stay grounded when it's windy? They can go over across the street and count fish. They can talk to the captains of some of the boats over there, ask them what kind of fish they see when they look over. If anybody's looked into Sheepshead Bay, now that they've gotten that sailboat out of the corner that was sunken for a few years, they can look over there and see fish. And if you look at the fish, it would be a good idea to go down and talk to the captain and say, Captain, what kind of fish are those in the water I see every day? They'll know exactly what you're talking about. Do some research. Your research can be backed up by what Captain Bob says and one of the fishing trips, fishing boats that are down there. So here's some of the points that they have to stick with. Number 1, they're going to be collecting data for 3 to 4 months. I totally get that they may miss a day or 2 here, but the whole idea is to collect as much data as possible. Ideally Monday through Friday. If they have NIA, understand that our days are getting longer. Now that we've had first day of winter, every day is a little bit longer. So if they get out at 5, that's a great time to take it. So they would be taking it at 5 o'clock every day then. If they have NIA, like Science Olympiad has it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but then they get out of school the regular days, then they're going to have to pick a time. They have to find the same time because they cannot use different times to collect their data. If you have any questions about this, I've spoken to the students already. They could collect it in the morning on the way to school. Should take no more than a few minutes every day. And I say a few minutes, that's a lot. They should really be able to collect the data in under a minute. No more than 2 people working together. Topics cannot, as of right now, they cannot be changed. They've had a week to pick a topic. Does temperature affect the number of squirrels I see in the park? I really wasn't asking any high level science ideas from them. This is pretty basic stuff. They cannot count the number of pigeons if they see somebody feeding the pigeons. Then that's no longer a field study. That is a controlled experiment. Now, we're not doing controlled experiments. Projects are going to be due in May. I'm going to show the students some examples. They're going to be done on Google Slides and then converted to a PDF. I think that might be the easiest way. I think that's what I'm going to do because I'm going to want them to upload it, and I don't want them uploading the link. I want them uploading a PDF, which should not be a problem. They may miss a day here or there, but they have to collect the data on a regular basis. Let's take a look at our next one. So here's what I've been telling the students. Keep it simple. Their testable questions should be something really very simple. Temperature affect number of pigeons under the bridge behind Bay Academy. Stay consistent. Go there same time every day. And if you're working with another person, one person counts the number of pigeons, not 2 people. If you have 2 people, then you have 2 independent variables. So you want to stay consistent. Do not make up data. I've had students make up data because they just blew off the project, didn't do it, and at the end scrambled to collect data, so they made up data. If they want to do that, look, that's entirely their business, but they're certainly not going to learn anything about doing a field study, which I would have to guess that not many middle school students, their science teachers are asking them to do field studies right now. I am, because I think it's a great idea for them to do this right now, especially after being out of school for 2 years, to come back in and to start looking around and improving their mastery of observational skills. I think it's a great idea. Stay organized. Keep your data. I've given all the students a spiral notebook to keep data in. They need it. If they lost the book, ask me for it. I'll give you another one. And most of all, you want to have fun while you're doing this. This is it's a fun project. I told the students once they start observing squirrels or pigeons or whatever they're going to be watching, after a while, you start to learn things about the squirrels and about the pigeons, and it really does get very interesting. So far, I am going to be collecting 3 grades from the students. I'm going to tell you what they are. The first grade that I collected from them was their testable idea. So they had to give me a testable idea. The second grade was to fill this out, and you signed this. I hope you signed it. So they're going to give me the testable idea up here, and then they're going to point out the independent variable, dependent variable, and constant variable. So we've been doing labs for about 5 months now, and they know these terms, and they know what they are. Independent variable is, say if you're observing squirrels and how temperature affects the number of squirrels in the park. Independent variable is the temperature. Dependent variable is the number of squirrels, and your constant variables are going to be location that you're doing this from, method of counting. If you're counting fish, you have to have a certain method. Same person is going to be counting, same time of day, and you should have signed this. So it does say, I approve my child's choice of teammates. If your child is doing this themselves, well, I assume you approve of the teammate because it's your child. And if they're working with someone, it's only 1 of 2 names here, just 1 and 2. Some years I've used 3 students maximum, some years 4. It's the same form I've used over the last few years. So this was due this past week from school. Now, this one is going to be due next week, either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. This is similar to what they do for their lab write-ups. All they have to do is recopy over their test question, their testable question, which is, does temperature affect the number of squirrels? Their hypothesis has to be worded as, Same thing they do, when they're doing a lab. So in this case, they would start their hypothesis out when doing a field study. So that would be their opening. When doing a field study, if the number of squirrels are counted in a park based on the temperature of the day, then there will be more squirrels when it's warmer, because according to, so they can't say there's going to be more squirrels when it's warmer, because who doesn't like warm weather? That's not the research. They have to give me some basis for the research. So they could say, because according to Dr. Jonas from Smithsonian Institute, say if they read an article about squirrels and temperature, then according to so and so, they have to give me their source of the research in the hypothesis. Okay. They're not going to be giving me their 3 different levels of independent variable, because they don't know what they are yet. Procedure, they're going to, I went through this with all classes. It's the same as writing up the lab. First step of their procedure is going to be their location. Go to their location. So if they're going to be doing it outside the balcony, grab a seat in front of the balcony. And then the second thing is going to be observed for the, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And then their data collection, right down here, they're going to be making up a graph. So I just want to see how they're going to be collecting it. Is it going to be a 2-column graph, a 3-column graph? They should be certainly having a column with the date, with the independent variable, and with the dependent variable. If they don't have data, they don't have to put data in this. I just want to see what the graph would look like. If they have data, they can put data in it. I just a basic idea of what they're looking at. Use the back of this sheet if they need to draw an appropriate graph. So on the back, you have seen your sons and daughters' labs that I've been grading. On the back, they're going to have a title. It's going to be the L-shaped graph. It's going to be the X and Y graph setup. On the X-axis, they're going to have their independent variable. And on the Y-axis, they're going to have their dependent variable. I want to see the labels, the units, and show me what it's going to be. Is it going to be a line graph? Is it going to be a bar graph? So I don't want an idea. They can make up data. I just want to see how they're going to be collecting their data and putting it together. And that's it. So those are their 3 grades within 2-week period that I'm going to be collecting. This is due next week. And again, I actually put what day for each class they're going to have this due. You have got to sign this. So parents, this is the second sheet that you're signing. If you haven't seen this, then they signed it. And I did have a couple of students admit to me they signed it, and now they will have to have you sign it. And that's about it. If you have any questions, it's going to be a lot of fun doing this. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. And that's about it. Okay, so you have a good weekend. Stay warm out there, and start collecting data on Monday or Tuesday. I think start collecting Tuesday. This is not, it's not something they're doing for their doctoral thesis. So since we're off from school, and if they typically gather data at 5 in the afternoon, then start on Tuesday. Just make sure it's consistent. Okay, parents, students, you have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.